Welcome to Secrets from the Saddle podcast. I'm Sylvie Dow, your host, fellow cyclist, bike club founder, cycling coach, bike race junkie, just truly super passionate about cycling. My journey with cycling started 20 years ago when I opened a spin studio, started a women's race team, and founded a women's only cycling club called Cycle Fit Chicks. I'm super thrilled to reveal all aspects that make the world of cycling operate. I'm so excited to be able to bring you interesting people from around the world, pro cyclists, recreational cyclists, coaches, event organizers, bike shop owners, everything and everyone you need to know or ever wondered about when it comes to cycling. I know you'll enjoy this episode. All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Secrets from the Saddle, all things cycling podcast with your host, Sylvie Dow. And I have another fellow Canadian, which I just found out that she is originally from Prince George, but she now lives full-time in the United States. And I am super excited to welcome Angela Naeth to the podcast. We have been working a couple weeks, maybe more in a couple weeks, to get together to do this podcast. And I am super, super excited to have her here. But before we bring her out, I've got a little introduction written up here, and I'm sure you've heard of it, heard her spiel before, but I am excited because we have a lot of things that cross paths here. I'm just, like I said, I'm excited because I've actually been interviewing a lot of guys lately, and I'm like, I need more women. I used to balance everything out with women, and it's kind of fallen off. So Angela, I'm glad you're here. So Angela, known in the triathlon world for her prowess on the bike, is currently among one of the top triathletes in the world. Angela is a multiple 7.3 and Ironman champion, 36 times 3.0 podium finisher, multiple Ironman champion, and professional gravel and mountain biker. And I
I wouldn't professional in front of mountain biker or gravel, but
that's what I want to talk about.
Up and coming, maybe.
This is certainly like one of those things that takes a lot of time to build. But with a master's degree in physical therapy and a bachelor's in health science, Angela worked as a pediatric and orthopedic physiotherapist for 7 years. She then competed in her first triathlon to stay fit. I want to talk about that too, how you just, go from being fit to a full-time athlete, and shortly thereafter made the jump into full-time racing. Angela is currently racing among the top gravel riders in the Lifetime Grand Prix and other prestigious off-road events. Angela continues to pursue a career in these distances and women in sport, and we might meet each other if you're going to Unbound.
Oh my gosh, yes, I will be there. Are you doing it too?
I'm going to be there too. I did something crazy. I'm doing XL, so I'm going to need all
Oh my gosh, I have a friend that's doing the XL. You guys are nuts.
I don't tell you. It was one of those things where I thought I was signing up for the 100 and got into anyways. Long story, but I've embraced it. It's been a couple months now.
Well, I'm impressed. I mean, that takes a special person.
Tree planter, right?
Yeah.
So giving back, Angela created a women's triathlon cycling community in 2017 called I Race Like a Girl. And I was just saying that one of my girlfriends is part of her community there. So that's for women's endurance, and her gravel team, Girls Get Gritty, which I was looking at your membership. I think I might just join, which is growing in numbers. So Race Like a Girl's for her triathlons, triathlon ladies and support there. And she also has a podcast. So it's like, this girl is near and dear to my heart because we both have women in sport in like close to our hearts. And Angela, welcome.
Thank you. That was a very big intro. I appreciate that.
Well, we just found out that Angela is from Prince George, and I just finished telling her that I tree planted there for 2 seasons. And I always say, if you could tree plant and survive the summer, then you can do anything. And if anybody's ever tree planted, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Angela, the first question I always ask is, how did you get into cycling? So I guess that goes back to the first triathlon.
Yeah.
And how did it lead you to decide to do this full time and then into building communities? And then we'll finish up with gravel.
Yeah. I'll make the story short.
Oh, come on, you don't have to.
I can get along. Well, you can ask questions along the way. I was a track athlete in high school and college. I got a scholarship, and I always rode my mountain bike to track practice. And I saw a triathlon bike in the store before I was going to college. I'm like, I want that bike. There was just something that drew me to it. I had no idea what triathlon was at the time. I mean, living in Prince George, I don't even think there was a triathlon around at that time. I went to college in Columbia, Missouri, and brought that bike down. I found out that you can't really ride that bike in groups when you first start out. So I ended up selling that bike and getting a road bike. And I was on the track team. Unfortunately, I was always injured on the track team. It was not a fun experience for many reasons. But I jumped into riding a bike during college, and I met a bunch of guys, and we just rode all the time. I still remember doing my first 100-miler, and I mean, I bonked, and it was just terrible because I knew nothing about nutrition. You know, you just ride. And then after college, well, actually, in my third year in college, I decided to go into a bike race. And I had no experience. I had no experience on anything. I ended up crashing because my front wheel hit someone's back wheel, which obviously you don't do. And I broke my hip and sacrum and pubic bone, and I was in a wheelchair, crutches, all this stuff. And this was just before physical therapy school. So it actually was a benefit in disguise because I had to learn a lot.
That's a serious crash.
It was, yeah. It took a while. I had a cane, a nice, fun cane during school. So I used that for a couple months as well. So then I graduated and went back home to Prince George, and I wanted to be active still. And I learned about triathlon, but never saw one, never knew really what it was. I come from a lifeguarding background and swim instruction for kids. So I kind of just jumped back into the pool and started swimming, and I was always running. And so I jumped into an Olympic distance that was 5 hours away a year after I graduated college. I think I was like 25 at that time. And I ended up winning the event. So I fell in love with it instantly. Yeah. And thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna try for the Olympics and all this stuff. And little did I know how fast people swim and run. So I ended up actually looking at riding bikes as well. So there was a few races down south in Vancouver, and that kind of whole arena. And I found a coach at the time who was really into it. So I jumped into a few races. I ended up doing pretty well. I would get third or fifth, and I knew nothing. I just kind of just grunted it out. And but my fiance at the time came down with me, and he was petrified for my life in these races because coming from like a little tiny town in Prince George and like no roads, it was chaos. And he basically begged me, please don't do this. I can't condone this. Like
I guess that's why he's the ex.
Yeah, exactly. He was a great guy. So yeah, then I decided to go into triathlon. I took his advice and found a triathlon camp. Cause I mean, Prince George is filled with snow, as you know, until May, basically.
Yeah.
So I found a camp in California, and I went to that camp, and there was a 100-miler at the start of the race. At the start of camp, it wasn't really part of camp, but it was just like a fondo. So since I got there early, I ended up doing that. And long story short, the last 10 miles of the fondo had me and the main coach of this camp by ourselves. We started with like 30 guys, and I was the only one that kind of held on. And it started because he was looking at me prior to camp saying, oh, maybe you should wait and do the 50-miler. Like he was totally like putting me down right away. Just because I was a woman. And I was like, screw this guy. I'm going to prove him wrong. So I did. And at that camp, he kind of watched me swim and run, and he pulled me aside and he said, can I grab you lunch? I have some stuff that I can help you with. So we went and sat down, and he said, I think you can go pro at this. And it just like kind of blew me away. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, but you need to go longer distance. Cause at that time I did maybe a couple sprints, Olympics. He said, but you should really go long. So I ended up going back to Canada, and to get your pro card in triathlon, you have to race, or you did back then, a certain time. So I jumped into my first half Ironman. It was in just outside of Calgary, Alberta. And it was the Sylvan Lake half Ironman. And I jumped into it, and I ended up winning it and getting my time. And so I got my
just like that.
It was pretty quick. So yeah, and I mean the general trend of I jumped right into it. I was still working full-time as a physical therapist at this time. And I ended up quitting that job with the fiance that I was with, to see if I could just put more time into being a professional. But I ended up going to California. We broke up. I basically left everything and just tried to live meager and be this pro. And it was extremely hard. I lived in places my mom has no idea. And to this day, I basically had $2,000 in my pocket and tried to see if I could make money. So
you had to win races.
Yeah, or at least get top 5. And back then there was a lot of races. I think one year I raced half Ironmans every 2 weeks to make money. Like I just went from race to race. And I started getting these, so back then Ironman would provide homestays. So you would get connected with a family that would host a pro. And without them, I would seriously have not been able to do what I did, because it's so expensive with hotels and everything else. I mean, I had—
Was that in the States?
Yes.
Angela, or is it?
Yeah, it was all—
Is that, but it's not the same in Canada, or is it?
They don't do it anymore, but they used to. So for every Ironman, they always had homestays and stuff that were connected with.
Oh wow, that's good to know. But oh my god.
Yeah, it was actually so rewarding, because I met so many people, and every single homestay I had, they brought me in as family. And it was just, I would go back to them year after year to the races, and I would create all these friendships, and all my family's back in Canada. So I was making family all over the country and friends, and it was fantastic. So then probably like 4 or 5 years ago, I moved away. Well, I was in a different relationship. We tended to—
That's okay, that happens, right?
Oh no, I have learned so much. It was not the right one. You live and learn when you're on your own. So I was really lonely, quite honestly, and I was trying to like pick up the pieces. I had a foot injury, so I was really just trying to figure out why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I looked back at all my homestays I had and the friendships I made, and I said, I want to help people get to the start line. And especially women. Like every time I'd go to a homestay, I would hear the moms, saying, oh, I wish I could do that. And just like things that they thought were not possible. So I just put some ideas on paper. I created a website. I reached out to some of my sponsors that I had at the time, and they all loved it, and just kind of launched it to see what would happen. And it's been growing pretty solidly. I think this is the 7th year for I Race Like a Girl.
Oh, so, wow.
And I have some of my best friends on the team. I did a camp every year down in Florida, and I meet so many people on the team. So it's been really fun. And
I'd like to ask you about that, because it's funny you say that, like being lonely, because like I was mentioning that I have a women's cycling club. It's been 14 years. And one of the things that I find so challenging, having a club and being like the club leader and main, like the person, is that it's really hard to make solid friendships. I find it's rewarding getting so many women. Like I've coached over 1,000 women through my club.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's so amazing see them advance and get faster and better and do great things, like really cool things like fondos and
Mhm.
tours and but at the end of the day, it's so hard, like nailing down like a friendship. Because
Mm,
where you think one's a friend, something happens in the club
mm,
and they're no longer your friend. And
mm.
that's one thing that, and maybe it's the structure, because I've personally been looking at different structures of clubs, like or groups. I don't know
What's the
if you're,
structure you have now? Like, what's the?
well, it's all very local,
Oh, okay.
right?
Mhm.
And I really like the international aspect of like having a club, but having being able to help women all over.
Mhm.
Where I mean, locally is great. Um, we provide a lot of things in our club, skills night, multiple group rides, challenges, things like that. But I just feel like there's so much more that I could be doing, and I love like just going through your page and looking at your structure. I'm just like, man, that's so cool because you could just impact so many women globally.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been really fun because you really do get that global aspect. We have team members, from the east to the west coast, and
Hmm.
I actually just got back from a gravel camp that I posted, and there was about 18 women there. We
Oh,
all
wow.
we all rented an Airbnb all over the country, came to a weekend together.
That's what
It
I want to
was
do.
really fun. Yeah, it was my first time doing it as an Airbnb. And I was a little hesitant because obviously when you get
Hmm.
a lot of women from different areas, you don't really know the personalities. But we all had this love for gravel. And so it really actually was amazing. It was
Where did you
awesome.
go? Was
We
it
went,
close to you?
no, we went to North Carolina. There was
Oh,
an
perfect.
option for a race for gravel, the Crow 10 buck 50. So you could do 50, 100 milers or 150. So we had people do all different distances. Some were brand new at gravel. Some just came from triathlon. Some are very like do gravel all the time. So we had a really diverse group and also in age. We had two women over 60 there and they were fantastic. We had
Oh, yeah.
really young guns, like 28, I think was what was the youngest gal. And so I mean just all got along and had fun and yeah, it was such a great weekend.
So how big is your membership? Like, because you have both I Race Like a Girl and your
Yeah.
Girls Get Gritty. They're two
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah, so just a quick story. Back in during COVID, I there wasn't a lot of triathlons or racing, so I got a gravel
Mhm.
bike and I started riding gravel and fell in love with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
First time on the
me
bike,
too.
I pulled over and pulled out my phone to make an Instagram post saying I feel like a kid again. Like it was fantastic. So I started riding that a lot, and my bike sponsor had an opportunity for me to get to go into the Unbound race, and so I did that in 2021, and I didn't know what I was doing. It was my first gravel,
Ah,
um, but I fell in love with it. I got sixth overall, and the mud and the muck and the experience was just overwhelmingly fun. And
fun.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, I'm in. Yeah. So, and at that race, I just saw the lack of women on the start line. And I was like, we can change this because
Hmm.
the fact that I could get on the start line with all these men and, there were obviously women there, but just not a lot. And I was like, I want to impact this. I want to be a part of this community that's growing. So that's what launched Girls Get Gritty. So it's under the umbrella of I Race Like a Girl is the main
Yeah.
entity, but Girls Get Gritty is really based on gravel and mountain biking.
Hmm.
Our membership ranges each year from anywhere from 300 to 400 women together. Some women are on both teams, some are on one. I always try to entice them both because I love to get triathletes and
Yeah.
mostly them into gravel just because that's kind of my love now too.
I know. I can't,
Yeah.
what? I felt I started mountain biking, then I
Mhm.
went into road. I was doing riding road to train for mountain biking. So this is back like 20 years ago. And I was adventure racing. That's where my mountain biking came in. And then I did two triathlons to my name. And I was just like, no,
No.
like, no, they're so boring. Sorry. I
Oh,
just
well,
like,
which one did
I
you
can't,
do?
no,
Like,
no, I just did a short try, like a sprint.
yeah.
And I
And you
did
found that
two.
boring. That's
I
right.
know. I was just like, this is like, nah, I can't, like, I don't like swimming. So there was a notch. And then if running on pavement, I'm more of a trail runner. So I'm just like, I'm just glad I tried it, but it's just not for me. And then I switched right into multi-sport adventure racing, like mountain biking, paddling, hiking, orienteering, like all this stuff. And, uh, and then I got into road racing for about 8 years. I created my own women's team. I'm like, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to pull in some friends and do this with me. So I'm like, hey, you want to do this racing thing? Like, I don't know. Like, let's just do this together. We got a coach and then just like 2 years ago, I like a lot of the girls in the club are like getting gravel bikes and they're talking about gravel and I'm like, oh my God, whatever. And then I was able to get like a used gravel bike and I went to my first event and I was like, this is great because I loved mountain biking and I just hung up my mountain bike for like 15 years and and it was such a great in between two sports that I really liked, road and mountain and then yeah, now I'm like pushing gravel, like not pushing gravel, like getting more into it, and it is building, like you said.
Mhm. Yeah,
So you're
I just found that the community is so inclusive and it's a very different vibe than triathlon. And it is
yeah,
growing like crazy all over. I mean, so many people are jumping into it and it's a challenge for me, especially the mass starts. It's pretty tough. So I like the new challenge and I hate it at the same time.
I know. I think like I've gotten into like let the fast ones go and because I mean those mass starts even with road cycling is just like you've got to be careful who's in front of you and you just don't know because people are sketchy. Like and
Yes.
you don't want to take you down and you just start like at the beginning of the race of all things. But I get you. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you're kind of like I'm like on this sideline person. I'm like
Mm.
around the sides.
Sometimes
Like
that
I'll go.
doesn't work though, because then you just get pushed back and back and back, and you could get pushed into the ditch, or it's it's
Yeah.
it's a constant struggle, but also it's a really good challenge because it is fear-based and you don't really
Hmm.
know what's going to happen and you have to be extremely alert. And then you
Yeah.
have to go as hard as you can. So putting all that together is it's been a work in progress for sure.
Yeah. I do always recommend that you start first quarter of the race, like up at the front, like the first
Yeah.
quarter. I was like, just get there because if you're gonna drop back, at least you're not at the back by
Mhm.
yourself. You'll have plenty of people to come up and ride with you, or you drop back and ride with them. But it gives you a shoe into getting ahead of like a lot of the other people.
Yeah.
And some of my girls are, I'm like, come on, we're going to the front. They're like, eyeballs are big, like, way. I'm like, trust me, you don't want to be at the back because you'll never get it any any further forward. You will be at the
Yeah.
back the
And I
whole
think I think
race.
the issue is everyone thinks this way. So everyone's
Mhm.
going it's bad out of hell, thinking
Mhm.
that they can just get to the front, or stay with the lead pack as long as possible. It's going to be that much easier. So
Yeah.
definitely
So tell me about like the Girls Got Gritty. Like you just started
girls
that.
get gritty. Get gritty.
Girls Got Gritty, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
You
I
just started
kind of
that?
did. Yeah, did the same thing I did with I Race Like a Girl, put some ideas on paper and launched it. Um, we had, I think the first year, 75 members. It was really awesome to see because as soon as I did Unbound, I was like, I just started
Yeah.
some ideas in my head and I was like, I really would love to meet more people doing this and help inspire others to actually jump on board. So yeah, it's been fantastic. Really, really fun.
So this is like, you can be anywhere.
Yes.
That's a
So
nice thing. You just sort
yeah.
of,
Yeah, we have a number of Canadians on the team, which is really cool. We have a gal in Alaska, which is always fun to kind of see what she's doing. All over the US, we have a few internationals actually. So we host Zoom calls for happy hours. I do a lot of Q&A for coaching for both triathlon and gravel. I host a couple camps. I'll be doing another one just before Unbound, actually, the week before, to bring people just to see Emporia and to maybe ride a little bit of the trails
no
and
way.
roads. Yeah.
I'll
So
be
that,
there Wednesday.
oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'll be there the week before. So we'll definitely have to connect. And then,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I do a few camps in Florida. My goal is to do more and more camps that I can align with my own racing as well. So the Unbound camp works really, really well because I would like to get there earlier and you kind of tapering into the race anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just every camp I do, I get to really meet all the people on the team that come and just build this bond, and it's really fun. And sometimes after those camps, that's where you really find really solid friendships. And I've noticed on the team that some members try to find races now together so that they can have like a weekend getaway and have fun racing their bikes or doing a triathlon. And I mean, that's what I wanted. So I'm pretty stoked about it.
Oh my God, doesn't give you like a fuzzy feeling when you see like those connections being made and you've got your own going on.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think the biggest thing is like just seeing the change in a person within 3 days. We had a lot of introverts come to our camp, and they were really quite fearful of, sharing an Airbnb with 18 other women. And by the end of camp, we had this kind of powwow, give us your highs and lows. And all of them said, I am so glad I came to this. I now like, it just pushed them out of their box just enough. And then there was so much support and fun that it was awesome. I mean, it was truly awesome to be a part of and to see. And then so many of them, did challenges that they never thought possible. We had people doing their first 100-miler. I mean, that's massive for some. And they came back from that race and, we're all eating pizza and drinking wine, and they come with like mud all over their faces, just plastered with the biggest smile. And they're like, that was so fun. And meanwhile, like, I mean, they had a day, they were out there for a long time, and it's very awesome to see and be part of.
Yeah, I agree. I went for my second gravel race. I drove down to Hastings and I did Barry Roubaix. And I just like, well, remember, I don't know if you remember, the United States was different last year, but last year, this time in Canada, everything was still closed. Like I didn't know if I was going to be able to get across the States. So I was like, I don't care. I'm going to go to this event. And I met a bunch. So I organized where I met a bunch of girls from a gravel page, and we hung out, and it was really cool. And I said, next time I'm going to bring more women. So this time I've got 3 other girls coming with me, and it's turned into a road trip, and I'm just going to keep bringing more women like to these really cool events. Even though Canada has some, but not quite like the States. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's definitely growing down here. I mean, I haven't been to Canada for quite some time. I went and raced there last year. I did an Ironman in Mont Tremblant.
Gosh, that's very close to me.
Yeah, but I haven't really been spending a lot of time in Canada. It's just the nature of what it is right now.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of things happening down there.
It's hard because there's just so many races, and my schedule throughout the year has a lot of travel. So I actually try to entice my family to meet me in Maui because that's always one of their favorites. So last December, my mom and I went on a girl-daughter trip. So that was, a mother-daughter trip. So that was really fun to do that. And my sister goes there often with her family, and so I get to see her there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So when did you decide to, okay, let me see. So you are working with a man,
Amy Woods.
yeah, Amy Woods.
Mhm.
When did that partnership start?
So
Like for coaching?
yeah, she reached out to me to do a talk for her local Cape Cod community for
Okay.
triathlon. So I did that. That was kind of during COVID. And then we kind of hit it off, and she asked me to go for a walk. And so I met her halfway. I lived about an hour 45 from her. So we met in the middle, and we just hit it off. And we're now like literally best friends. Like I live next door to her because I'm renting out her cottage. Um, Fantastic. We're just like two peas in a pod, but we're very different too. So we became friends really, really quickly. And we I went through some stuff and decided to move down here with her help. She said, you can stay in the cottage, rent it out, da, da, da. So I did that. And I've been here for over a year and absolutely love it. And last summer, she was coaching with another coach, just a few athletes. And I wasn't sure if she was leaving or anything, but we just started talking, and we just did so much together that it just made sense for us to align. I mean, she has her entire fitness program. It's Amy Woods Fitness, and she does spin classes, and she has so much strength. It was just a really good alignment. And her husband actually enticed us to start a podcast. And that was last year. We started last January, and it's been going really, really strong and super fun. And then probably about, I can't remember, maybe August or July, I brought her on board as a coach. And so now we coach together, and it's been super fun. Yeah.
So, oh my God. So how many do you take on, all types of clients, or you just focus on, because I saw that you had like your types, like not types, but I guess focus, like you got triathlon, road, gravel,
Yeah.
and is it just
I
like
basically,
sport?
I take any and all athletes. If they're just pure runners or pure riders, or I actually have someone who just races in Zwift, quite honestly.
Oh, well, that is a whole
Yeah.
world
So
in
I
itself.
have a
Like,
really diverse crew of athletes, from Ironman to just doing sprint races. I shouldn't say just, but because they are extremely hard. But the whole gamut of triathlon. I have a number of athletes now that just do gravel. I have some that do marathons. So it's a huge mix, men and women. And yeah, I mean, I've personally been coaching for almost 10 years. I've become more and more focused on it a little bit more, because
yeah.
it is my stream of income, quite honestly. That's helps me do what I do. And I love it. I mean, I truly love it. And it's really fun to kind of be a part of someone's process and journey toward their races, and go through the ups and downs, and just be a part of it. So
That's exciting, because I've always toyed with coaching myself, like making it as an income stream, but I don't know. It's hard to, I think, make that leap.
oh, it's not
Um,
hard. It's not
no, yeah, really?
hard. You just have, I mean, I think if you start with some few local friends, or just kind of help. I mean, when I first started, I that's the way I did it. I gave out free coaching for a while, and word of mouth just kind of goes through, and ended up starting to charge a few people that I didn't know, and kind of just progressed from there. So
Yeah, I do have an
and it also
online.
comes with experience and like education, and
Mhm.
whole gamut, and the more and more that I learned, and just, coming from a health sciences background and physical therapy, I knew quite a bit already in terms of exercise science and physiology. So it just made sense, quite
Yeah.
honestly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a pretty cool group right now for winter training on Swift. Well,
Yeah.
it's not on Swift. We use Swift as part of and Zoom, because they're like Toronto and into the States and here. So it's been pretty cool. I've learned a lot, just putting together the program. Like I find that it just kind of deviates a little bit all the time. Like, oh my God, that is a cool, I should keep doing that. Like, you just keep adding things to it. And I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I can continue doing this. But tell me about this year and Lifetime Grand Prix. Are you doing all of the events that are on the calendar? I think there's like
Yeah.
8,
Yeah,
something like
there's
that.
7 events.
Yeah.
So to be part of the standings, you have to do 5. And I am an Ironman lover at heart. I love Ironman. I love the challenge. And so I am not doing Sea Otter mountain bike. Last year I actually crashed.
Oh no.
I'm okay not doing that one. So I am doing Ironman Texas, and then it'll be full on gravel for quite some time. I will be doing Unbound, Crusher and the Twisher, Leadville. That's a
I
really
want to do that one.
it's
That's
super
on
fun. Super
my
fun. I
bucket
still think
list.
my soul is up there. I did it for the first time last year, and it was soul crushing, but also very inspiring. Because you're climbing up Columbine and you see these riders and they're turning to like little ants, and it just becomes like, oh my God, I have to ride my bike up there. And it's technical at that point and you can't breathe. And I mean, you have riders basically flying down, like the male pros and some of the top male females that were ahead. They literally just bomb down this hill, and you're trying to climb up, and the loose ground. I mean, it was nuts. It was completely overwhelming at first.
You go up and down on the same track?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Oh,
it's very sketch at parts of it. And but this year
oh
I'm
my
going
God.
to do the stage race. That is the race broken up into 3 stages, and so that's going to be more of like experimental and try to learn the course a bit more. And then I'm staying up in Leadville area for 2 more weeks so that I can get more acclimatized, because you're at 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
So then my partner Castelli invited me to come do Steamboat and Finland gravel, which is really cool. That's not part of the Grand Prix. And I'll do Big Sugar gravel. What are the other ones? There's one more gravel race. Oh, the Rad Dirt in Trinidad in Colorado. So I'll do those, and then I'll do Ironman Lake Placid, and hopefully bank my ticket to Kona to do that, or a late season Ironman. So that's kind of, I have a full docket of racing.
And when does your downtime?
December. I mean, December. Last year, I switched coaches, actually. I was pretty burnt out. I went to Ironman Arizona and I didn't finish, actually. I DNF'd halfway through the run. My body was done. And
oh wow.
It was okay though. I was okay with it. Sometimes you just got to see what you got. And I pushed through quite a bit. And that's when I went to Maui with my mom. We went there for 2 weeks and I literally sat on the beach and drank wine. I mean, I've never really done nothing. And it was really nice. So it was about 3 weeks in total that I really just did nothing. And I really needed it. So I switched coaches, and my new coach is very interesting. We do a lot of polarized approach to training, which is very different to me. So we actually had this huge thing over the weekend because I'm so used to just grinding it for long periods of time.
And you're like, okay,
yeah,
I'm getting older.
So I kind of did my own mini test, I guess, over the weekend to see where I used to like train and stuff, and it's good. But it was so funny because we definitely were very frustrated with each other. But now I'm trying to continue to drink his Kool-Aid. So. So how do you? I mean, when you're with a coach for 10 years and then you switch over to something new. Right. At my age, like it's hard, but that's why I switched. I wanted to see what else I can learn, and also see what type of athlete I can be. He comes from a professional mountain bike racing, and it's extremely different than triathlon, but he does a lot of triathlon coaching. So it's a really good mix for me. And it's challenging and mentally challenging too, because it's like, but I've never done this, I don't think this is going to work. And
it's like that pull, like a push and pull kind of thing.
It's blind faith. I mean, I'm pretty good at just doing what I'm told. But I'm getting close to my races. And so you kind of revert back to what you used to do and you had success with and question things. And So, but it's good. It's good. We had a good heart to heart. And we're back on progress. So that's good.
You like give you one of those and what my coach once said to me, because I asked if I could do something, he goes, "Do you think that number one is doing that?" I'm like, probably not. Okay, thanks. All right. I'll never forget it. I was just like, holy, okay. Yeah, probably not. She's not doing that. Nope. Wow. So what are your expectations for this year? You got some goals? Like since you're doing the Lifetime and it's all points based, you must be
I have a different mentality about racing, I think, than many. I mean, how can you put a goal? I mean, obviously it would be fantastic to make money in the Lifetime Grand Prix and be in the top 10. I mean, that's the ultimate goal for anyone for racing, but I never put expectations on myself or outcomes, because I just don't know how you just don't know what the future holds. And so I go into the racing really embracing, I don't know what's going to happen, and let's just see what I got. I mean, and it's the most freeing feeling in the world, is just get on that start line and, you did the work that you could do, and you play hard and see what happens. So I don't really have expectations. I want to execute on what I think I can do. And that's the ultimate goal. So challenge myself along the way.
Race smart.
Yes,
stay
smart.
rubber side down.
The gravel races. I mean, I just did Croatan 150 and it was 8.5 hours total. And I mean, the start of the race, you learn a lot. It was raining. I had the wrong sunglasses on. I had to take them off. I'd get mud in my face. And so I would back off. I wasn't very secure in the groups with all the potholes. And I lost a lot of the time right there. So you learn these little things, and it's experience and practice. And
right.
Yeah. So it's really a big challenge. But what was super inspiring is here I am with the same fears, racing at kind of at the front end. I got third overall, but I'm hanging out with people that have never done a race in gravel, and they're freaking bombing down these puddles. I'm just so proud of them. I'm just like, this is amazing. Like, I'm learning more from them than they are from me, because they're showing me, they're just like, they have no, I mean, everyone has fear about it, but like, it was just awesome, because they're like, I'm going to do this, and then after we went through some pre-rides and stuff, they were just they were just like all in, and that just fired me up. It was pretty cool to see.
Oh God. So you're doing the 200 at Unbound. Yeah. So I think that's where all the pros are.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I just did, because I was wondering, I'm like, how many women are in XL? And so the only way that I could figure out is they have that scrolling registration on everybody that got in. And so I was sitting there literally like counting the scroll. So it's 39 women out of 229.
That's actually not bad. I thought yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the XL is 350 miles. And
I know. So I'm like, oh, I just feel like my odds got a little better, maybe. I think I might be the oldest. Really, I want to find out how old all these people are.
I mean, it's really just about attrition and being smart and staying awake.
Oh yeah.
I remember last year doing the race and seeing people on the side of the road that I thought crashed, but they were the XLs taking a little mini nap in the sun.
Yeah, I plan on napping for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to, quite honestly. I had a friend do it. Well, he works for my bike company that I'm with, and he did it twice. And it's so funny. We saw him before. He was like, oh, kind of like low key about it and stuff. So he did the race. We came back. We saw him at IHOP, and it was just after his race.
Oh my God.
Dazed like you wouldn't believe. And
he what?
He was just dazed, like completely done. And he ordered, no joke, he ordered at least 12 full serving plates of meals. And it was literally all over the table. It was just so awesome because he just would eat everything in sight, and his mind was just like, he was just dead, just trying to eat. And it was super fun to watch. But man,
I'm excited to know there's an IHOP in Emporia. This is
there
good
is,
news.
yeah. It's I always have pancakes before breakfast, and so I mean before the race, like the day before the race.
Yeah.
So I always go to IHOP or somewhere similar like that. Yeah.
Last time I went to one of those, I was in Daytona.
Wow.
On a March break. Anyways,
Mm.
3 a.m. But those were other stories. But I've been so excited. So where can everybody find you, Angela? Otherwise, like we're gonna
Yeah.
find each other
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
Unbound. This
Definitely.
is
It'll
so
be fun.
excited.
Yeah. We'll definitely, well, maybe you can have pancakes with me before you start your race. That'd be fun.
I love that. It'll be
Yeah.
part of my my calorie intake
Oh my gosh.
before
You need so
getting
many.
started. Yeah.
Yeah. You can go to iracelaikeagirl.com, Angela Naeth, NAETH.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Just my
Okay. How do you manage all the platforms?
um I have
Angela, what's
one
your
gal. I have
Oh,
one gal
okay.
social media for I Race Like a Girl and Girls Get Gritty. I coach her as a thing. Otherwise
Mhm.
I do it. I quite do it. It's
No,
what I
it's a
do.
lot. It's what you do. I know, right? And you know
It's a
what? I
lot.
love
I think, it's funny. I have a lot of people say you do so much and you do this, but it's if you have the passion behind something,
yeah.
it's not, I don't see it as anything that is hindering me. It's empowering me to keep going, because if I didn't have these teams, if I didn't have the roles that I play with my athletes and coaching, I think I would dwindle away in terms of my passion for the sport, because I really do get inspired by the people I'm around. And part of that's community. I mean, it's all community. So
Yeah.
being able to do all that is really a driving force for me, actually.
I love it that I love what you're doing because I love that you're in charge of, your community, you
Well,
know.
I don't look at it that way. I mean, I
Okay.
definitely created something, but
Yes.
I really want to bring the
Well, maybe
community,
not in charge, but like maybe that's a
just
bad way of
kind
saying
of
it. But
being there to help inspire and build stuff.
yeah.
Like I have quite a creative mind. Like sometimes I sit on my computer and things just come up and I just start creating stuff. I'm like, oh, let's do a camp here, or let's do this, and I just start thinking, and that's just how my mind works. And it's
Mhm.
like, let's see what happens. It's the same as racing. I don't have a plan. I don't have, okay, in 5 years it's going to look like this, because things
Mhm.
have to change. I mean, look at COVID.
Yeah.
Like, we have to change every month. Um, so I really like to ask a lot of my friends that are on the team what they want, what they see. I love like any type of advice or thought process in terms of what people want to see on the team. We have a lot of members that do a variety of different things, from yoga to fitness instruction to psychology. And so I really try to encourage them to come on the platform and bring
Oh,
their expertise. And
I do like that.
so I find it more, I'm just helping bring people together. I
Hmm.
don't direct anybody. I mean, I do make final decisions, say, on like clothing and stuff, but I still like go to Amy, or I go to other advisors, like, okay, well, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Because
Yeah,
really
yeah.
I can see it with one eye, or
Hmm.
two eyes, and I need probably 100 of them on some ideas. And plus I'm kind of an idea gal, and I tend to go overboard sometimes. So I need to get honed in a little, which is
I
very,
do
very
love that.
helpful. And the team is just amazing. So
Yeah. Well, I love that we've connected, and I love hearing what you're doing because you're kind of inspiring me to, maybe make a 360 of what I've been doing.
oh.
Um, I can't say for sure, but like I used to do, camps down
Mhm.
in, I did one in Virginia, one in New York, and they were so much fun. I mean, just going down with friends and riding.
Mhm.
And I've just lost touch with a lot of that stuff, you
Yeah,
know?
it takes a lot out of you. Like every camp I do, I need like 2 days alone because I'm just like need to find myself again. But it's just the reward you get from meeting all these people and becoming closer to them is really empowering.
Yeah. No, I love that. And you're very inspiring, I have to say. So thank you again. Thank you again for being on the
Yeah.
podcast.
We'll
And
see
I
you
want to
at,
thank
we'll
her.
see you at Unbound.
Yes, I'm gonna add you to the list of friends. Like I've interviewed quite a few people that are actually going there. So I have a list of these people.
Oh,
I'm
cool.
like, I have to make sure I see all these people. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
add you to the list and make sure I'm gonna be camping. So
Oh,
I'm
you
gonna
are. Jeez. Wow, you're really roughing it. You're doing the 350
well,
and
I'm
camping.
gonna I'm gonna
Oh,
secure a
good.
spot in the campground. And
Well,
then I think Thursday night I'm gonna sleep in a hotel like about an hour out of town.
everything's booked up insanely.
I know everything there, but there's spaces like in like an hour out of town. And, I'll just go and I'll sleep out of town. Then I'll come back. I'll have a parking spot. My tent will be there.
Oh, that's smart.
My gear, hopefully. But, my tent will be there. So I'll be able to park my car and just leave there and not pay for hotel while I'm biking for 2 nights,
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah.
like I could save the $300 US. So,
Yeah,
so that's what I figure I'm going to be doing. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. I'm probably just going to pass out Sunday night and then find a place Monday. I don't know. But I have to be in Toronto by Thursday because I'm doing another event. So
Yeah.
talk about back to back because
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
biking.
actually, yeah, go ahead.
No, as I say, I'm biking to raise funds for cancer research. So
Oh, cool.
the actual charity event is the weekend after. I was just like, oh my God, I'm like, oh my God, they're like back to
Just
back.
eat,
So,
eat, and sleep. I mean, those are the 2 recovery tools that you can go for.
I know, and just drive really slow.
Just
I got
constantly.
like
Yeah.
3 days to get
Actually, it's funny. I used to drive a lot from California to Colorado. It's not that far, but it's far. But the guy I was with at the time, we would eat like jelly beans and have like one every mile, or like raisins one every mile. It was so
oh my,
but I'm just thinking like ahead for you that maybe that'll
how can you stay awake?
happen.
Yeah, I'll be like coffee,
Oh, I have so much.
gummy bears.
Yeah.
Whatever. But
Yeah.
anyways, I am looking forward to meeting you. Thank you so much. And everybody check out Race Like a Girl and
I race like a girl. That's
I
okay.
Race Like a Girl, sorry, and Girls Get Gritty. They're on the same website.
I race like
I racelikeagirl.com, and you can check out her membership.
yeah.
So if you not part of something, then this is the opportunity to join. I think I might even join because I think that's
Oh
really
yeah.
cool being part of other communities out there that are loving things that I'm loving as well. So thank you so much. And thank you to our audience. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite platforms and on our YouTube channel. This will be there. I have to confirm with Angela if she wants her video up.
I did not know
I can
that
always put
part of
some
the
exciting
thing.
photos.
I would have looked a little nicer.
No, I could put some exciting photos up there for everybody. But anyways, thanks a lot, everybody, and have yourself an amazing day. And don't forget to ride your bike. Take
Thanks.
care. Oh my God, everyone. Oh my God. I think I have a girl crush on Angela. She is so much fun and I love what she's doing. I think she's about 15 years younger than me, however. And but yeah, I don't know. I it's really cool to interview women who are doing such great things in sport and creating environments and communities for women in sport to help support each other. Um, she's inspired me to look at a couple different avenues for myself up here in Canada and where we are. Um, and just building maybe another community that needs to be built around women in sport. So anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed that, and go check her website and her membership. racelikeagirl.com, and all her information is there for her membership for both memberships. And there's actually a combined price to join both, so which is cool. So have an amazing day, everyone. Enjoy the podcast. Share it with somebody who loves gravel, who's a woman who's maybe hesitating in joining or getting a bike and doing some events. This is the best episode to send them. All right, take care. Love you all, and don't forget to ride your bike, everyone. Bye. Thank you so much for spending this time with me on the Secrets from the Saddle podcast, learning more about citing people, places, and things that make cycling such an exciting sport. I am so glad you stopped by today. Please leave me a review if you feel so moved to do so. I would love to hear your feedback. And if you could take 1 second to share this episode with someone you think would enjoy it, I would be forever grateful. Also, if you could please leave me a review if you feel so moved by going to iTunes and leaving me an honest thought and an honest comment, telling me what you think, and most importantly, tell me what you'd like to hear more of. It would really help me to bring more great, inspiring cycling stories to you. Until then, have an amazing day. Make sure you ride your bike. And don't forget to visit my YouTube channel if you'd like to see the full version of this podcast live.